Food is something that many of us take for granted, yet every day millions of Canadians struggle to have enough nutritious food to feed themselves and their families. Not having sufficient nutritious food is a problem that has long-lasting and significant consequences, not only for individuals experiencing the problem, but also for the health of our communities. However, it is a solvable problem. Many organizations across Canada, like Maggie's Place here in Nova Scotia, are working with others in their community to build long-term solutions to the problem of food insecurity. Solutions that are getting at the root causes of the problem rather than just the symptoms. The foundation for this video began in 2001 when the Nova Scotia Nutrition Council, the Atlantic Health Promotion Research Centre, and family resource centres from across Nova Scotia came together to address the issue of not having access to nutritious food. This issue is often referred to as food insecurity. We began by asking a simple question: how much does it cost to feed a family in Nova Scotia a basic nutritious diet? The process we used to do this was called food costing. Food costing was last done in Nova Scotia in 1988, so there was an urgent need to determine the current cost of a basic nutritious diet for various communities and for various family types across the province. We undertook our first food costing study in 2002. Based on lessons from earlier food costing projects, we realized that directly involving people affected by food insecurity would have the greatest impact in eventually addressing the issue. We worked closely with the Community Action Program for Children and Canada Prenatal Nutrition Program funded family resource centres like Maggie's Place and used a participatory approach to collect the data.
We were really interested to know what the cost of a nutritious diet was, and it was important to us to involve some of the people that we work with because our mandate and some of the core elements that we work within are participation and involvement and capacity building.
It was very empowering for me to be able to bring this back to my center and say, look, here's this project, and we can change the way things are.
One of the ladies at Maggie's Place had approached me about it and asked me if I'd be interested in doing something that would maybe eventually try to impact the price of food for low-income families and everybody really in Nova Scotia. The training involved an afternoon of going over what was needed, what sizes, and how to measure. A lot of the vegetables had to be weighed, so we had to learn how to do that. I really got a sense of empowerment that I was hopeful that some change could be made, but also if you don't know necessarily what the problem is, you can't fix it. So to be one of the people that was actually out kind of doing the grunt work was an honor to be asked, really. We found out that it was very expensive to eat healthy. You know, it's very easy to buy a bag of chips compared to a bag of apples.
Like the women that did the first food costing with us, they know what it costs to feed a family of 4 or 5 or whatever. And they also know that they don't have enough money, but they can't figure out why. Well, it wasn't their poor budgeting skills, it wasn't their low income, it was the fact that it cost X number of dollars, and they didn't have that much money coming in for that.
Based on the findings of our first participatory food costing study, it was clear that many Nova Scotians could not afford a basic nutritious diet. The process of food costing provided us with new evidence of food insecurity, but it also provided us with new strong partnerships. Many people are engaged and motivated to continue to work together to build food security across Nova Scotia. Through these partnerships, we realized it was important to capture and understand what life is like for people who don't have enough nutritious food. So we invited women from family resource centres from around the province to come together in workshops to share their stories of food insecurity.
One of the greatest things, though, about the whole project was the story sharing.
The storytelling piece was a big component of it for Maggie's Place and for the women that come here.
We got together in groups and just started talking about our experiences, what our concerns were, what we had discovered, and what our basic daily challenges were.
The evidence from these experiences became the beginnings of tools to support policies and social changes needed to build food security. For example, many people we worked with through the participatory process began to build their capacity for addressing the issue in their communities. This led to the development of a food security and influencing policy workbook, a tool for communities to work towards changing policies that support food security. People began to gather through community dialogues and use the workbook to build solutions for food security. Our experience in Nova Scotia helped us develop a better understanding of food insecurity. The research, along with the strong partnerships and the momentum being built, were recognized by the Public Health Agency of Canada. We received funding to work with other partners across Canada to develop our workbook into a national resource. We have translated the workbook into French and made both versions widely accessible through our website.
The community dialogue for us was very, very important, especially with the workbook. The workbook was an awesome tool, and the participants really like them, and we keep on doing a lot of community dialogue through the county.
The community dialogue process has been very important to us. It's been an outcome of the research that has actually resulted in some action in our local community, and I know in communities around the province where different initiatives have arisen from bringing people together to talk about the issue and using the Thought About Food workbook as a tool.
Working with the workbook because other regions are doing the same work. When we talk about the workbook and the workshop, we do the community dialogues, we are doing the same things. So there is a certain uniformity, and I find we can compare things much better than if they were doing it one way and we were doing it another way. And I find this is always on my desk.
The Thought About Food workbook is a tool that's been an outcome of the research. And the workbook itself was a kind of a work in progress throughout all of the various different projects. And it's quite unique in that it's broken down into several sections that enables anyone within the community to use it to start engaging any sort of a group in some sort of a dialogue around the food security issue. And the nice thing about it is that you can use all or part of the workbook depending on the interest of your group and the stage that people are at.
Currently, we're working with a group of 11 food security mentors from the Community Action Program for Children and the Canada Prenatal Nutrition Program projects across Canada to put into practice the many ideas, tools, and activities in the workbook and this DVD.
The purpose of the CAPC CPNP Mentoring Project is to get people from all across the country involved in a wave of movement to affect change in food security in people's community.
We've created a workbook, a toolkit, to be able to have people understand what policy is, because many people don't understand that they can influence policy. They always think that it's politicians.
Within our Family Resource Center, we work with families every day that are struggling with food insecurity, and it's a natural fit to bring this project within our Family Resource Centers and talk with our families and see what struggles they have and how we can help with this.
I guess the hopes are to really work on that workbook across the country. It's a great tool that we use to educate people on the importance of food security and how food insecurity really affects everybody in the whole country.
The Thought About Food workbook and DVD has been built from the successes, the research, and the experience of the Nova Scotia food security projects. It incorporates ideas, insights, and advice from people across Canada working to build food security. Just think of what could happen if we could bring people together, from those experiencing the issue to those involved in agriculture and food production, the environment, food processing and marketing, the local economic development, around a common vision of food security for all. There are already great things happening in communities across Canada. The workbook and DVD are tools to provide information and to inspire people to come together for community dialogue and action to build food security. The idea is to help people understand the importance of food security. With this knowledge, they can become involved in actions that will help support healthy public policy. It's this policy that will build food security both now and into the future.